They skipped her graduation, ignored her achievements, and never believed she'd amount to anything until she bought the family beach house, made the front page of the Wall Street Journal, and left them all stunned at a five-star reunion they were never supposed to forget. The invitation sat in my inbox like a ticking bomb. Annual Brooks Family Beach House Reunion. Save the date. My sister Trinity's cheerful mass email might as well have been addressed to everyone but me. My name is Quinn Brooks, and I am the family disappointment. At least that's what my mother, Erie, never fails to remind me, whether through pointed silence or those barely concealed sighs of disapproval. You're not going to let it get to you again this year, are you? Remington asked, peering over the cubicle wall, his brows pinched with concern. I closed the email quickly. Of course not. I lied with a plastic smile. Just another day at the office. But it wasn't just another day. The beach house held every meaningful memory from my childhood, before everything changed. Before I became the outsider, I remembered the summer I turned 12. When the division became official. Quinn, darling, why don't you help in the kitchen? Mom had said that Trinity got to sit with Dad during his business meetings on the deck. Nelson, sweetheart, go show the neighbors your new project, she'd cooed to my brother. And me? I sat alone, reading books they deemed a waste of time. My phone buzzed. A message from Savannah, my childhood friend. Let me guess. Another reunion email? Bingo. I typed back. Want to bet how long before Mom calls to explain why there's limited space this year? The answer came within the hour. Right on schedule. My phone screen lit up with her name. Quinn, dear. She started in that voice that always sounded like sweet tea laced with arsenic. About the reunion. Let me save you the trouble, Mom, I said, surprising myself with my calm. The house is too full, right? Trinity's kids need the space. Or is it Nelson's new girlfriend who gets the extra room this year? A beat of silence. Well, you know how it is. Trinity's children are at such an important age. I looked down at the promotion letter on my desk. Senior Vice President at 35. The youngest in my company's history. Yeah, Mom, I know exactly how it is. After the call, I walked into Lence's office, my boss, my mentor, my lifeline. Family? He asked, already reading my face. I nodded. The best revenge, he said, is success. I thought it was living well. No, his eyes twinkled. It's becoming so successful. They can't ignore you anymore. He gestured at my tablet. Speaking of which, the Richardson merger. You ready? More than ready. And just like that, I returned to my real home. The boardroom. Later, Savannah called. You know what you need? A plan. For what? To show them what they've been missing. You're not that scared little girl anymore, Quinn. You're a force. I paused at a red light, watching the lights blur through my windshield. What's the point? They've made it clear where I stand. The point is, you deserve better. Maybe it's time they realize that. Back at my luxury apartment, I sat in my car for 10 minutes before going inside. 10 years ago, I was an intern. Now, I had the corner office, the skyline view, the high-rise address. Everything they said I'd never achieve. Everything except family acceptance. Another ping. Trinity's email again. Pictures from last year's reunion. Laughing faces. Jokes I wasn't in on. Memories I wasn't part of. But this time, the ache was different. Sharper. Motivating. I opened my laptop and pulled up a real estate listing I'd been watching for months. The market value of the beach house had dropped significantly. They couldn't afford to maintain it anymore. I knew that. Time for a different kind of investment. Not revenge, I whispered. Justice. With compound interest. The next morning, I stood in front of the boardroom. The Richardson merger isn't just a combination of assets, I explained. It's a redefinition of market presence. Charts lit up behind me. Numbers. Strategy. Certainty. Remington gave me a subtle thumbs up. I'd worked late nights for this. Lived and breathed this. Are you certain about these projections? Mr. Richardson asked. I stake my reputation and our company's futures on them, I replied. 2 hours later, preliminary agreements were signed. Lance pulled me aside, beaming. Outstanding. But why didn't you mention the Hong Kong promotion? Still considering my options, I replied. Back at my desk, Remington leaned in. What's holding you back? This is everything you've worked for. Before I could answer, another buzz. Trinity again. Mom wants to know if you got the reunion invite. Please respond. Savannah barged in with lunch bags. Oh hell no, this is them realizing they can't ignore you anymore. Give me my phone. Not until you promise to stop letting them dictate your life. I'm not Quinn. Remington cut in. Remember last month's charity gala? CEOs lined up to talk to you. You own that room. That's who you are. Another buzz. Nelson. Hey sis. Got a minute to chat? I raised an eyebrow. Now everyone wants to talk. Because you're impossible to ignore. Savannah grinned. Just then, Lance reappeared. Mr. Richardson wants to discuss implementation over dinner. I nodded. Text me the details. As I packed my things, Remington called after me. Don't forget who you are in there. Show them what Quinn Unleashed looks like. I smiled. My offer on the beach house was submitted that afternoon. 3 days later, the real estate agent slid a set of keys across her desk. Congratulations, Miss Brooks. The beach house is yours. Savannah gripped my arm. You did it. My phone buzzed. Lance, tell me you closed the deal. Just sign the papers. Perfect. The Hong Kong position is yours if you want it. Board approved. Savannah squealed beside me. I barely heard her over the sound of my entire past shifting underfoot. Another buzz. Trinity, family meeting this weekend. Mom insists you come. Please. Savannah cackled. They have no idea you own their reunion venue. Let's keep it that way until I walk through that door. She slipped on her sunglasses. So, what's the plan? I turned onto the coastal road. My house. Now, I said softly, watching the sea glitter beyond the trees. We prepare for a reunion they'll never forget. The beach house stood quiet and regal in the morning mist, but inside, the pressure was building like a storm behind glass. Quinn woke before sunrise. She'd barely slept. Even after all she'd said and done the day before, her mind still pulsed. With old wounds and new power, she slipped on a silk robe and stepped onto the deck. Waves hissed against the shore. The scent of salt stirred both memories and ambition. Her phone buzzed beside her espresso cup. It was Remington. Remington. Are they still breathing? Quinn. Barely. They look like ghosts. And now they're staying at my house, Remington. And the irony. Delicious. Quinn. No regrets. Remington. Good. Because the Tokyo office wants to push your opening keynote by 2 weeks. Gives you time for one last play. She smiled. One last play. Inside, her family was slowly waking. Trinity emerged first, wrapped in a hotel bathrobe and already typing on her phone. You're up early, Quinn said without turning. Trinity startled. I couldn't sleep. Me neither. Trinity hesitated, then sat in the chair opposite. You've changed. I had to, Quinn replied simply. No one was coming to save me. Quinn, about yesterday. You don't owe me an apology, Quinn interrupted. You owe me the truth. Trinity stared at her hands. We were jealous. You were always smarter, more driven. But Mom and Dad, they didn't know how to handle you. They didn't try, Quinn said, flatly. They were afraid you'd outgrow them. And you did. A beat passed. Then Quinn said, help me with the reunion today. Help me show them what family looks like when it's built on truth, not appearances. Trinity blinked back tears. Deal. Downstairs, Nelson was rummaging through the kitchen, looking for something. Quinn asked, descending the stairs. He held up a half-eaten energy bar. Breakfast. She tossed him an organic fruit basket. Welcome to the executive suite. He caught it, grinning sheepishly. I saw the news last night. The merger. Hong Kong. That's massive. Thanks, Nelson. Rubbed the back of his neck. I was an idiot. Still am sometimes. I always thought you were just trying to prove something. I was, and I did. But that doesn't mean I wasn't wrong, he said. I want to learn. For real this time. I want to be better. Quinn studied him. Then start by listening. He nodded, sincere for once. I'm all ears. Later, they gathered in the refurbished dining room. The room was flooded with sunlight and tension. Quinn stood at the head of the table again. Today's reunion will happen here, Not at the hotel, but under conditions I set. No fakeness, no favoritism, no backhanded comments, just honesty. Her parents looked startled, but said nothing. I've invited some special guests, Quinn continued. Trinity raised an eyebrow. Like who? The people who helped raise me when you all didn't. Just then, the front door opened. Savannah stepped in, followed by Remington and Lance. All three were impeccably dressed and carried themselves with quiet power. Remington smirked. Hope there's room at the table. Quinn gestured with a smile. There always was. Just had to clear the clutter. Savannah took a seat beside Quinn, giving Mom a polite but distant nod. Lance slid into place and handed Quinn a folder. Preliminary Tokyo itinerary. Thought we'd review over dinner. Dad stared at him. You're her equal? No, Lance said, and looked at Quinn. She's surpassed me. The family dinner that followed was tense but revealing. Old memories were dissected. Missteps were admitted. I missed so much, Mom said quietly. But I see you now. I've always been here, Quinn replied. You just had to look. Later that night, Quinn sat alone on the porch, watching stars scatter across the sea. Savannah joined her. You did it. No, Quinn said. I started it. There's still more to come. You ready for part 2? Quinn smiled. Bring it. The next morning, the beach house buzzed with cautious energy. The previous night's emotional dinner had cracked something open, but healing was a long road, and Quinn wasn't about to smooth it with easy forgiveness. She stood in the living room, gazing at the oversized family portrait that used to hang in the hallway of their childhood home. She'd found it in the attic, covered in dust. Her face in the photo was young, hopeful, sandwiched between siblings who had once treated her like a footnote. Everyone ready? She asked as her family filtered into the living room. Trinity nodded. Where are we going? Quinn smiled. Somewhere symbolic. Nelson groaned. You're not taking us to therapy, are you? No, she said dryly. We're going back to the high school. They piled into 2 SUVs, Quinn's staff handling the logistics with quiet professionalism. The drive was silent except for the occasional awkward chuckle from Nelson and Savannah's gentle updates on Quinn's phone. The school hadn't changed much, feeling paint, cracked pavement, and the same marquee out front announcing an upcoming car wash fundraiser. Inside the auditorium, Quinn had reserved a few seats. They sat in the front row while the principal, an old man who remembered all of them, welcomed her back like a local hero. We want to honor Quinn Brooks today, he said, an alum who's made this town proud. Polite applause echoed. Her parents looked stunned. You set this up? Dad whispered. I didn't, Quinn replied. They reached out to me. After the small ceremony, they walked the empty halls. This is where you gave your valedictorian speech, Mom said softly. You didn't come, Quinn replied, her tone even. I was working, Mom said. Double shift. I know. I watched the clock the whole time, hoping you'd walk in. Silence fell. Nelson touched a locker. Mine. I carved my name inside. Mine had college brochures taped inside it, Quinn said. They got torn down weekly. By who? Trinity asked. Some of your friends. Trinity swallowed hard. I didn't know. You didn't ask. They walked through the gym, then out to the football field. This town didn't see me then, Quinn said. But now they do. And so do you. Back at the beach house, Remington had set up a presentation in the living room. A timeline of Quinn's career played out on the massive flat screen, her startup success, the merger in Berlin, the Tokyo project, and now, Hong Kong. Nelson stared in awe. I didn't realize how global you'd gone. Quinn turned to face them all. I built this life because you all assumed I couldn't. And now I don't need your approval. But I'll take your respect. Her dad stood. You have it. Fully. Her mom followed. We can't erase the past, but we can change what comes next. Quinn held their gaze. Then prove it. Not with apologies, but with actions. Trinity stepped forward, holding her phone. I've booked a ticket. Hong Kong. Next month. Nelson raised his hand. Me too. Just give me a couch to crash on. Quinn laughed for the first time in days. I'll have a guest wing. The doorbell rang. Savannah opened it to reveal the town's mayor and a local reporter, Ms. Brooks. The mayor asked, would you consider giving the commencement address next spring? Quinn smiled. I'd be honored. As the sun set on the beach house, The once broken family shared dinner without resentment. Laughter rang louder than the waves outside. And for the first time, Quinn didn't feel like she was on the outside looking in. She was home, but this time, on her terms. 2 weeks later, Quinn stepped off the plane in Hong Kong, a sleek black car waiting for her at the curb. Savannah had arrived earlier and was already at the penthouse finalizing details with the local design team. The humid air hit her face like a welcome greeting. A new chapter, a new skyline, and a new story waiting to be written. From her penthouse overlooking Victoria Harbour, Quinn watched a city light sparkle like constellations stitched into the water. She stood barefoot on the balcony, phone in hand, scrolling through a string of text messages from her family. Pictures from the Four Seasons dinner, Nelson's online course certificate, Trinity and her kids at the airport, waving goodbye to their Aunt Quinn. For a moment, she let herself feel the swell of something softer, something she hadn't allowed in years. Belonging. Her days in Hong Kong were fast-paced and unforgiving. High-stakes meetings, strategy sessions, and gala invitations. She handled each one with poise, even grace. But at night, she often returned to the balcony, watching the ships come in and thinking of the beach house. Then, one evening, a familiar ringtone chimed. "Mom?" "Hi, sweetheart." Her mother's voice wavered. "We're all here. We miss you." "I miss you too," Quinn admitted. "We were thinking, maybe the next reunion could be in Hong Kong. We'd love to see your world." Quinn laughed. "Only if you're ready for Peking duck, Mandarin lessons, and hiking up Victoria Peak." Her dad's voice chimed in from the background. "Bring it on." She smiled into the night. "Then I'll start planning." Months passed. Quinn flew back once to oversee a tech incubator opening in her hometown, a partnership she quietly funded in Nelson's name. Trinity guest lectured at the university. Her parents volunteered at the foundation Quinn established for first-gen college students. Slowly, the family Quinn had once written off began writing themselves back into her life. The Christmas reunion was held in Hong Kong, just as Quinn promised. From the top of her penthouse, her family watched fireworks explode over the harbor, lighting up the sky like promises. On New Year's Eve, Remington pulled her aside. "You've built something bigger than an empire, Quinn." She raised an eyebrow. "Oh, you built a legacy, one forged in fire and silence." And now he gestured to the room full of laughter, food, and second chances. "Now it sings." As the clock struck midnight, Quinn raised a glass with her family and friends. "To legacy," she said. "To healing," added Trinity. "To us," said Nelson, and together, they toasted to the impossible, made real by one woman's courage, to reclaim her place outside. The city blazed with light. Inside, Quinn felt something stronger than success, deeper than triumph, peace, and for the first time in her life, she didn't just feel like she belonged, she knew it.